We continue this morning with our promise to feature at least one new book a week during the pandemic. This morning, The Bird Way, a fascinating look at extremes and surprises from our friends in the great outdoors. The timing seems right given the current crisis and our collective hunger to see anything except the couch. But the book is also a jumping off point to examine a bigger, broader issue, the state of billions of birds overall. There are plenty of reasons for concern, but also signs of hope. We spoke to conservationists, biologists, hunters, farmers, and more. All of them birders. This is still migratory season, so birds would be on the move anyway. But this year, in the middle of a pandemic, as humans have retreated, it seems like the natural world is in overdrive. The morning chorus louder, the wildlife wilder.
There's no question that people are being more observant, and I think it's cause for a lot of joy and a lot of comfort.
Jennifer Ackerman is the author of the new book, The Bird Way. Why do you think watching them right now for so many people has been such a comfort?
Well, for one thing, they're the most visible wildlife around us, and they are carrying on with their lives.
Ackerman has been writing about science and nature for 3 decades, and her latest work shares remarkable insights into birds and those who study them. That includes former astronaut Jessica Meir, who raises geese from birth, teaching them to fly and even brave a wind tunnel so she can better understand how they handle extreme altitudes. There's the African gray parrot, confounding widespread perceptions of how birds behave by showing one giving up its food for another.
It was this really, really remarkable show of altruism in the bird world.
And the unusual communication of the greater Ani, who cooperatively make decisions with complete strangers to raise their young.
This is an animal with a brain that's about the size of a nut, and yet they have these strategies for survival that are so ingenious, really.
Should we still use the term bird brains?
Only as a compliment.
Birds may have more open space in this current crisis, but overall, they're hurting. A much-discussed report in the journal Science this past October said the bird population in North America has declined by 3 billion, or 29%, since 1970.
There's so many factors that are threatening them. Climate change is a big one, especially with migratory birds, and also loss of habitat.
The work to protect those habitats is ongoing.
2/3 of the endangered species in the world depend on wetland habitats.
Wayne Roberts is with Ducks Unlimited, a group started by hunters in 1937 to stop declines in waterfowl populations. It's now one of the largest wetland conservation organizations in the world.
Oh, yeah. Look at her.
So she's probably sitting on the eggs.
Beautiful.
She'll keep an eyeball on us.
She's like, you guys,
Wants to know what we're up to.
keep your distance, gentlemen.
We visited one of their projects along one of the last and largest remaining wetlands of coastal Connecticut. What are you trying to do in areas like this?
We're going to restore some tidal flow into some of these areas to create the habitats, the grasses and things like that that are necessary for the birds.
Why are we losing birds?
The theme that keeps coming up over and over again is the habitat. There's got to be the habitat. They got to have somewhere to eat, somewhere to sleep, somewhere to breed. You got to have a house. They've got to have a house.
The work here is being done on Larry Davis's farm, the oldest continually operating family farm in the nation, created in 1640. Davis is 13th generation.
You've dedicated a good part of your life to make sure this land doesn't get built on ever.
All of my life. Grandfather always preached, keep the land and the land will keep you. I don't think that's any more evident than today's pandemic situation. As a family farm, as a farmer, we feed the world. And if we don't preserve it, if we don't keep it and take care of it, they don't make any more.
When you hear about bird populations going down and being thinned, what do you think?
I think that the environment is the pulse of the world. If there are bad things going on, if man has had too much of an influence that has poorly affected the world, you'll find it first in nature. And so as bird populations drop, Other species are as well.
Duck and geese populations, bucking historic trends, have actually increased in the last few decades.
It's imperative that we as a race, supposedly being at the top of the food chain, it's our responsibility to preserve it.
Are we doing that right now?
To some degree, yes. Will we ever be able to do enough? No, I don't think so. With world populations booming the way they are, I don't know as we'll ever be able to do enough, but the goal is for no net loss.
Oh, they're just all over here. There's one way.
Lots of stuff going on right now. Like Larry Davis, Jennifer Ackerman's passion for the land and those who fly over it is generational.
All of this started with your dad.
That's right, my dad. He was a huge influence in my life in this way, and we still share a tremendous love of birds, and I'm forever grateful to him for setting me on this path.
For Ackerman and many others, constantly learning more about our most visible neighbors is the only way to make sure they stay that way.
We have made great strides in understanding bird science, but we have a long way to go, and I think particularly in understanding how birds know things and whether there are ways of knowing in the bird world that are different from our own. We really have to do what we can to make sure that our children and our children's children get to see the birds that we see and learn from them, and learn from their still, largely mysterious ways.
Dana, the backyard has been going nuts this year. Turkeys, red foxes, bobcats, and the wildest animal of all, of course, are children.
Keep them around the birds, not those other animals that you mentioned. I was thinking, I've seen a lot more birds out lately.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot more animals, to your point, but I've seen more and didn't even think about the fact that just because we're seeing more doesn't mean that they are out of the woods when it comes to dwindling populations.
Yep.
And we do need to take care of them.
Yep.
Beautiful stuff, and you are a bird brain. I now say that with the greatest respect.
Thank you.